Hi there, this is Tom Corcoran, Associate to the Pastor at Church Nativity and co-author of Rebuilt. This is to talk to you a little bit about small groups. I love small groups because I've seen such life change in small groups and have developed such great friendships through small groups here at our church. And I always say when it comes to small groups, I think they're the toughest sell in church work. I think when it comes to getting people to church, people kind of have a concept of what that is, and you come to a crowd, so that's not very intimidating. And even though less people are coming to church these days, it's still kind of a normal thing, a normal American thing. So to get someone to come to church isn't too hard, or it's not too tough a sell. When it comes to ministry and asking people to volunteer their time, you know, people kind of have a concept of that. They know that from school, that they had to volunteer their time in school, or they know we need volunteers because they've helped coach their kids' sports programs. So people have a kind of a reference point for going to church or volunteering in a ministry or being a volunteer minister. People don't have a reference point for small groups. There's absolutely nothing in our culture that's saying, hey, you need a group of people in your life that are helping you to talk about faith and helping you sort through your problems. It's just, there's no real reference point, I don't think, for many people when it comes to small groups. So just want to acknowledge small groups are a tough sell. That said, let me give you a few ways and a few thoughts about how you get people into small groups. I'm actually going to share with you 6 ways. And so 6 kind of steps, I would say, although they're not really steps. But here you go. Number 1, first of all, you have to be in a small group. If you want people in your church to be in a small group, you have to get in a small group. Your church staff should be in a small group. The pastor should be in a small group. If you're asking people to do this, if you want people to do this, you got to lead out in yourself. So number 1 would be join a small group yourself. Get one started. Second is that you need to ask people. I know that's revolutionary, but the way you get people into small groups is by asking them. No one's going to voluntarily just say, very few people are going to say, hey, I want a small group. You're going to have to ask people over and over and over again. And how you ask is very important. Because in your ask, first of all, you're probably going to have to explain what a small group is and paint a vision for people about why they should be in a small group. Also, it's very important, again, if you can get the pastor on board, and I know that might be tough in some places, but get the pastor on board, get him to preach it and preach a message on it. So that you have to ask people and ask them well, explain what a group is, and paint a vision or a picture of what it's going to accomplish in their lives. Number 3, you got to put some rungs on the ladder or make it accessible for people. Now, probably the best way to do that is to have a yearly event, again, which you promote, and you get people to come to that event where they can experience what a small group is like, get a little taste of it, and then connect with some other people. So we've found that the easiest way to get people into a small group is this kind of one yearly event in which we encourage people and we promote to join a group, and we just pull our resources to get people to that event. Fourth, I would say, make sure your small groups are excellent as possible. Now that can be tough. Small group life is messy. Some of the strengths, I think, of small groups is that they're very customized to everyone's experience. So it's hard to have a uniformity of excellence. But I would say this: 1, you can promote excellence in groups by 1, having great materials that promote conversation. That's important. And 2, investing in leaders. Again, these things are really, especially the investing in leaders is easier said than done. But that's how we promote excellence in our groups. 5th, I would say you need to encourage people when they join groups. When they talk about sales and advertising, one of the reasons car companies, for example, promote so much into advertising is not just to get people to buy their product, but to make the people who bought the product happy about buying their product. Like with cars and big ticket items, there's that buyer's remorse, and advertising helps people in the buyer's remorse. Well, a lot of times when people join a small group, they might like it, they might love it, but it's still a change in lifestyle. And you need to encourage them and say, hey, you did a great job in joining a small group. We're so happy. And there's not just you who are in a small group, but there's other people. There's groups across this church, across this town meeting. So you want to let people know who've just joined a small group that they're not alone, and it's not just their group, and encourage them that, hey, a lot of other people are doing this. And last, number 6, persevere. persevere. It's hard. It's hard. If you're finding it hard to get people in a small group, congratulations. That means you're fighting in the trenches. You're fighting the battle. You're fighting in the battle to get people into a deeper relationship with Christ. You got to persevere. It's hard. So I hope that's helpful. So number one, make sure you're going to group yourself. Number two, you want to ask people and ask them well. Three, you want to make it accessible, and I would say with a yearly event. Four, make it excellent as possible. Make your groups excellent as possible. Five, encourage the people, especially when they're new to groups. And six, persevere. Small groups are tough, but man, is it worth it when you see life change in Jesus Christ through them. So persevere. Thank you.